I've just been attuning with a teaching from Gautama Buddha that's been a part of the webinar for that's been invoking a higher vision for America in this lead up to the presidential elections. And so I'm just taking some of what Gautama talked about and yeah, I'm taking his suggestions and teachings and guidance on, what we can do as students, what's just something to push us along on the way. And the question that he posed and talked about was appearances. We know this world is just all appearances. Everything is appearances, and all of these separate selves, they are appearances. They're just like something that's covering up the true light and the true flow of who we really are, which is our I am presence, which is the unfettered purity of self. But we have just so many layers of things that we think we are, and so I'm looking at I'm prepared to look at every single one of these illusions one by one and dismiss them. And so I took the challenge, and Gautama said, what is it in you? What appearances are you looking to project to the world? And, it's just another way of looking at a separate self. The masters keep giving us so much guidance, and, they just go, it's like, this big sphere of perspective. And so, there's one angle that you look from, and then another, and then another. And so this is just another, and you could say it's, it's all been said before, but I don't really see it that way. So I've just meditated on it and done some automatic writing and felt into it. And so the first thing I want to say is that, and I don't see this as an appearance, but I know my motivation in this world is to be open and transparent and just share what I learn, and what I discover, and just to share it with others, in the hope or that it may inspire someone else, or it may awaken something in somebody else, like a discovery I make may help somebody else. And I'm always open to the same coming to me, of course. But anyway, so I know that my intentions are very much about openness and honesty and transparency, and I don't see that as an appearance at all. It's just very much a way of being. It's a quality that I feel in myself, and I'm sure it's in many other people too, of course. It's not exclusive to Neptune. And so then I looked for, let's just see, what is an appearance that I've been holding, and be really honest with myself. And there's this appearance of wanting to be recognized, that I can see, that I want to be, this self, obviously it's a self, but wants to be seen. And it's all there in the background, and I could say, I'm feeding it by publishing videos and things like that. And in some ways, yes, but also in other ways, the honest, open, transparent goal of sharing these videos is is to share this, you know, to be honest about it, to be honest about, well, you know, here's another illusion and I just want to share this with you. And, you know, you might see it in yourself, you might recognize it, and this is what I'm doing to transcend it. So, yeah, so it's kind of like a bit of both. But, you know, I know the whole time, the whole goal is to demonstrate on this path because, you know, this, I think I've said it before, it's just pointless to try and present myself as being sort of, you know, there at this perfect place. You know, it's the whole idea is I want to demonstrate the journey, you know, that it's this coming to one illusion, you know, each illusion one by one and letting them drop away, and hopefully, and I envision that the idea is that, you know, you'll sort of notice shifts in my own energy as I'm sharing this. You'll sort of see like, oh yeah, something's dropped away. She's a little less tight or a little less, you know, whether you see it on video or in, you know, in our personal interactions. That's I guess, you know, that's how it works, isn't it? So I've looked at this, yeah, I've recognized this illusion of wanting to be seen and wanting to be recognized. And I felt into, you know, because I find often answers to, you know, how that illusion was created generally comes through different experiences in my life. Like, I find this lifetime sort of has a lot of keys from a lot of past lifetimes. So in this lifetime, I had a lot of experience with a lot of different narcissists, both in romantic relationships, work relationships, and so on, friendships. And the weapon that worked best with me and the one that hurt the most was isolation, was when I'd done something to, you know, irritate, upset that other person, and then they would just reject me and neglect me, and I'd feel shut out, like I couldn't, you know, I had no voice, I wasn't seen, I wasn't acknowledged. And I also observed, I worked with many children who had been through, you know, all incredible abuse, and I actually, honestly, I found that the most damaging abuse that occurred with children was that of neglect, when the child was neglected and not given any kind of attention. You know, even, you know, negative attention is some attention, but no attention is, it really affected a lot of these children, like massively. And I found, you know, the job of helping them to heal was a big role, big path. Like, it was a lot easier to work with kids who were already, you know, had some element of, like, you know, that they were seen and yeah. But I can acknowledge, you know, I can just go and like acknowledge that in myself. Like, I'm not that person anymore, like, you know, who was rejected and isolated, but, you know, I can go back into the feeling of it and know, like, yeah, it felt awful, you know, it just felt awful and maddening, you know, because I'd be left alone with my thoughts and, you know, trying to fight it and defend it, and it was just, you know, it just activated my own 1,000,001 separate selves all arguing it out in my ego, in my mind, and you know, it was waves of, you know, anger and all of these intense emotions and depression, you know, just this crushing depression of being so isolated, and knowing that it was being orchestrated by you know, these specific narcissists. And so so I had a belief that, you know, I wasn't seen and therefore I'm not loved, and what I would do was, you know, I would just try to do something, like be good, or you know, even I cause problems sometimes, just anything to be seen, anything to be noticed. So Yeah, so I'm just sort of at that point, and I can't say I can give you some sort of specific explanation of, what this self is, but, this is sort of like the framework of this illusion, that wanting to be seen, and its polarity is also like, I developed also the polarity for that self, the twin for that self, is actually the ability to isolate and be okay with that. I mean, look at me, I'm all alone on a mountaintop, and I mean, I'm alone. It's just magnificent. So, and I'm comfortable with this. I'm comfortable with choosing this because I know I'm not sort of trying to sort of push away the world or anything. I am very much inviting the world in and trying and bringing myself to the world here. But there's been a big period in my life where I just learnt how to isolate myself, and I'd actually just push people away. It's I'd just cut people off, push them away. I was very, very good at that, and so I that's definitely. Yeah, I feel like I've transcended that. So, I think it's time to just let this appearance drop of wanting to be seen and recognised and acknowledged. Because really, like, it's a complete illusion. Like, even if someone sees me and recognises me, what does that even mean? What does it mean? It means nothing. It's nothing. Like, it doesn't change. It doesn't change me. So, yeah, time to let that illusion drop.